Hello and welcome to my new channel, which is going to be dedicated to gaming. Not just PC gaming, but also Xbox gaming, because I've recently finished the new Grand Theft Auto game. Yeah, okay, you're probably saying, oh, there's plenty of people out there that finished it, but I'm telling you now, I finished it. There we go. So without further ado, I just thought I'd make a bit of a tutorial video on one of my favourite PC games at the minute, which is, as you can see, Kerbal Space Program. So for those people who haven't played this game before, Kerbal Space Program, you control a race of sentient green beings. As you can see, these guys here, these are the Kerbals, and it is your mission to create a successful space program to travel to various other planets within the Kerbin system. Kerbal, within the game basically. Brilliant game. I'd highly recommend it to anyone who's into who's into space travel and sci-fi and rockets and games as well, I suppose. Yeah. So let's get into the game, and we'll have a look at what you can do really. So I'm going to choose career mode, and yeah, we'll just call it YouTube. Because it's YouTube. There we go. You can choose different flags if you want, but I'm just going to go with just the regular default one. So let's start again. Oh, also you get two different game modes. You get career mode, which it's a linear sort of game. You basically to do science experiments whilst you're in space. Well, not just in space, but on the surface of various planets, including Kerbin. This planet here, which is analogous to Earth, I suppose. There's also sandbox mode, which it basically unlocks the whole of the game, and you can create some crazy stuff within the game. I've done some various cool space stations and crazy contraptions within it. So, but yeah, just to start off, we'll have a look at career mode, and we'll see what it's all about. So yeah, we'll just overwrite that one though. It's a previous attempt at recording it. Yeah, there we go. So this is the first screen that you get. This is the Space Center. Various different areas within the Space Center, so we'll take you around them quickly. The central one is pretty much the one that you'll be using most. This is the vehicle assembly building. It's where you assemble your rockets and you build your rockets. Once you've built them, that goes to the launch pad there. This is the tracking station. This is basically where you can you bring up the screen and it shows you all the flights in progress here. It categorizes them into different sort of categories, I suppose. Yeah, bases, stations. That's an interesting one, bases, because I don't actually know how to create a base in this yet. So that would be interesting to find out, especially if I could create a base on another planet. Could be interesting. But yeah, space station, probes, rovers, landers. There we go, plenty of choice to go with. Back to the Space Center when it loads. Come on, there we go. This area here, this section here is research and development, which I click on. If you click on it, this is your tech tree basically. These are the items that you own currently. Not much there to build a spaceship with, not much, but yeah, you can progress that, and there we go. And like I said, you do the way you progress your tech tree is you do science experiments, which gains you science points, which you can then exchange the points for different sections on the tech tree. Simples. This is the astronaut complex. So yeah, you can basically select what astronauts you're going to be using. Let's get a couple of stupid ones in there, just because the start of this is going to be quite tragedy. You get your space plane hangar. I won't go into there because it takes a while to load up and then jump back out. But yeah, your space plane hangar, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's where you build your space planes, your rovers, your crazy little cars and whatever. It's a bit like the vehicle assembly building, but it's horizontal, whereas the vehicle assembly building is vertical. Obviously, because a rocket's vertical and a plane is more horizontal. And then you have your runway, your spaceplane runway, where you can take off you can take off with your space planes, and you can drive your cars. And because the good thing about this game is you're not just limited to building rockets and planes and space planes, because as you progress further through the tech tree, you get various other technology included, which allows you to build cars and VTOLs, which is a vertical takeoff landing vehicle. Yeah. So, without further ado, let's crack on, shall we? So we'll load up the vehicle assembly building, and we'll just crack straight on, shall we? So you always start off with a pod. Whether it's a manned pod like this one, this is a command pod. It can only hold one crew member. As you progress through the tech tree again, you get various other technology which allows you to create unmanned tech, i.e. probes, computer controlled devices, computer controlled craft, etc., etc., which doesn't necessarily need to have a Kerbal in there, but because we're low on the tech tree, we're pretty much starting off. We'll start with the command pod, which it's just a one-man command pod, if you will, and yeah, so we'll load that up. Propulsion, we've got choice of two different rocket types. We've got solid fuel boosters, and we've also got a liquid fuel engine. Because this is his first one, we'll make it very simple. We'll just stick a solid rocket booster on there. That's good. Now, what goes up must come down. Now, this will never get into space. This will never get into space. So, to prevent our guy that's going to fly this, which it's going to be... Oh no, he's a veteran. We don't want to be losing him. Let's get someone stupid. Rich Bin. There we go. If there's anyone at all in the world called Rich Bin, I apologise. I didn't mean that in a general term. I meant Rich, whatever he's called, Kerbin. There we go. Yeah, utility. So, like I said, what goes up must come down. So we need a parachute to bring Richkin, whatever his name is, back to the planet safely. Science. This is where the science points come in. Actually, we're not going to bother with that because we're not really going to need it to do much science whilst we're in the air. It's a bit dangerous to jump out of the craft whilst you're in there for obvious reasons, you know. So, I think we're good there. Let's just call that for YouTube and science, and we'll just save that. We'll make sure that Jebediah... Oh, look. A little bit of a bug with this game. You can sometimes find your Kerbins just are too eager to jump back into the craft, as Jebediah is there. So we'll save it with Rich Bin in, as we were previously planning on doing, and we'll launch. So let's see how our craft fares up to the rigours of space travel. Although it's not going to get into space, it's not going to even get anywhere near orbit. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. Actually, let's just go back to revert flight back to the vehicle assembly building. If you look on the Kerbal Space Program wiki, yes, there is a wiki for it. You can see all the controls there. But I just wanted to explain, I want us to go back here because you have staging. Obviously, with any rocket, you have different stages. Now, we don't want our parachute and our rocket to fire at the same time because that would be a little bit disastrous. So what we're going to do is just click the little plus button underneath that stage and it will create a new stage. And we want to put that rocket at the bottom. When you are playing the game, if you hit the spacebar, it will launch the next stage up. If there isn't anything launched, it will automatically launch the first stage in the progress. So we just wanted to move that so the parachute isn't firing at the same time as that rocket. And again, a little bug. Let's just make sure Rich Bin's still there. He is. He's behaving. He's not swapping places with suicidal Jebediah. So to throttle up. Oh, first of all, if you hit T, what it does, it activates stability control, which is it's signified by this little symbol here, SAS. That basically keeps you on a straight and narrow. The worst thing you want is flapping all over the place. It does get to it at some points, but it's limiting it. It's trying to sort of limit it and harness the strength of your craft and make it as strong as possible. So yeah, to throttle up, which it's indicated by this bar on the left here of your nav ball. This is your nav ball, by the way. To throttle up, you press and hold the shift key, which will bring the slider up there. To throttle down, you hold the press and hold the control key, CTRL key. Does it do it with? Oh no. It's just the left shift and the left CTRL key, control key. If you want to kill your throttle immediately, hit the X key, and that will just drop your throttle. It'll automatically switch off any engine. However, solid fuel rocket boosters, there is no throttle control on it. So I could have it there, I could have it there, I could have it there. It will always fire full thrust, and it won't stop until the fuel is run out. Okay, so a little tip there. So yeah, we've throttled up, we've hit the stability control, and we're going to launch in 3, 2, 1, lift off. So yeah, good flight there. We're getting some really good vertical speed. That's our velocity there. That's our velocity in relation to the surface of the planet that you're orbiting. Getting a little bit of overheating. Shouldn't be a problem, hopefully. Obviously with no throttle control on this, so we can't have no control over that. As you can see, we're getting some atmospheric pressure, or our atmospheric re-entry effect. And we've run out of fuel inevitably, but we've got to a brilliant height of 13, going up 14 kilometers. It's at this point that I would be doing, well, I'd be doing a gravity turn maneuver way before this point, probably between 8 and 10, depending on what sort of craft I have, how heavy it is, how much fuel I've got, etc, etc. But as you can see, what goes up must come down, and even though we are quite a way up in the atmosphere, still climbing. Let's just have a look at our map view, which you can get to by pressing the M key. Yeah, we've already passed our apoapsis, the apoapsis, or apo key as it would be in this game because we're orbiting Kerbin, is indicated by AP, and that's the highest point in your orbit. So as we've got no lowest point, yeah, we are now hurtling back to the planet at well over 200 meters per second. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to activate my parachute just by pressing space, and as you can see, that lovely little animation there of the parachute coming out. Now it will come out semi-deployed, which means it will slow you down, but it'll only slow you down to I think about 120 meters per second for this parachute, this type of parachute, until we get to a certain height above sea level, and then it will fully deploy. So yeah, here we go. This might be a little bit of a wait, but yeah. So but yeah, this game is absolutely fantastic. It's still in development. It's still in, I think it's in beta stage now. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but it still is in development. The developers are still working hard to add extra features. Unfortunately, multiplayer would be a really good feature in this game, but as you probably read on sort of forums, multiplayer isn't really, it's not really practical, for one main reason. You have time acceleration within this game, because you're dealing with orbits of years and months, weeks, it can be pretty boring just sat there and... Wait a minute. There we go. Our parachute's just deployed. So we're coming down at a nice slow speed. Pretty good. That rocket is probably going to explode on impact. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, I'm digressing. Because you're dealing with long periods of time within this game, you do have a feature where you can time accelerate, which you can activate, you can use by pressing the greater than key to time accelerate faster, and less than to slow down time acceleration. So we're just going to wait for this thing to land. You can see our shadow there coming down, and yeah, as you can see, a little bit of a graphical glitch there with the parachute. As I said, it still is in development, so there are a few little bugs in it, a few little glitches. But is he going to land safely? Oh, and oh, he does. Yes. So, as I said, in this game, you progress the game by gaining science points. Now, the way you do that, various things you can add to the ship. Now, because we're in an early stage of the tech tree, we've only just started the career mode, we haven't really got much science tech to actually do science experiments with. What we can do though is go to EVA, which stands for External Vehicular Activity, which brings the Kerbal out, floating above the command pod there, and you can yeah, press space to let go, and you can have a little walk around, and brilliant. I always like to take a little bit of a screenshot when I'm doing that, so I'll just take a little screenshot saved to my Steam cloud there. Yeah, so there we go. So yeah, external vehicle activities. He can plant a flag, which nice little animation, and he plants the flag backwards because he's got no sense of direction. And we'll just call this site landing site number 1. Okay. We'll take a surface sample, and it says this substance is what makes scientists yell at us when we go into the labs without cleaning our boots first. Interesting. An EVA report, which is an external vehicular activity report, and he says, I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Of course it was. We never know what's going to happen. So let's get back into the spacecraft. You might think, why? That's because we're going to board it, and it says here, look, surface sample stored, EVA report stored. Okay, now what we're going to do is press escape key after we've shut down our throttle by Xing that, and we'll go back to the Space Center. Now, this is where the science points come in. This is where doing as much science as possible is very important. Because if you go to the tracking station, up here you can see we can see our flights in progress. We can see our landing site there, which doesn't really do much, unfortunately. That would be good if they could implement that into doing extra science. Maybe you could leave experiments behind to run constantly at landing sites. That would be interesting. But yeah, all we're going to do is we're going to recover our little space pod. I'm going to do that by hitting recover, like that. And it's showing that we've progressed our science by 16.4. That's how much science we've earned on this mission. So done. Now, what we then do is go back to the Space Center again, and we go to our research and development station, which is here. And as you can see, we've gained 16 science points, which means we can progress this like that. Woo! Which means we get bigger tanks. We get a smaller tank for little probes. We also get this, which is part of the science tech tree. This is an extra science experiment, allows you to observe mystery goo. Let's just read the description. This unit was something one of our engineers came upon whilst dumpster diving. Researching alternate applications for existing technologies. It's a sealed container which appears to be filled with a strange looking substance. We couldn't reach in or break the canister open, but watching how the goo behaves when subjected to different situations could be very educational. We also have this, which is very important with our stage, and this decouples your stages. So it means now we can have multiple stages. Excellent. Can we research any more? No, that's 20, that's 18. Oh, what's that? 15. No, we can't. Brilliant. Okay, so that pretty much wraps this video up. If you'd like to comment, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please hit like, subscribe if you would like to, and yes, we'll progress this further. And as always, yeah, take it easy, and see you soon. Bye.